Hey everybody, on this episode of the Timeless After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 7, Stranded. Can a Star Wars fan and a Star Trek fan find true love? The only way to find out is to get stranded in the French-Indian War. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, a little bit of the Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, it's not Irish, for sure.
Not Irish. No, it's very French-Indian. That's right. Hey everybody, welcome to the Timeless After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're breaking down Season 1, Episode 7, Stranded. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
I'm Alexis Torres. You can find me where all shenanigans will ensue at atorres890. That's ATORRES890.
And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane.
And Chris Howard, reach out to me at Chris Howard Live on both Twitter and Instagram. And we now know that bagpipes did not come from Scotland or Ireland.
They came from the Middle East.
Yeah, so that has nothing to do with the episode.
But it's a fun fact.
You know,
nonetheless.
flamenco was influenced by Rajasthan in India.
Oh
The
my
flamenco?
goodness.
The dance?
Flamenco, because it's a similar. They have katak, which has a similar like beat thing going on. Anyway,
Oh. Now,
They got
random
the beat,
facts on the
they got
Timeless
the
Show, guys.
beat.
for those of you that are watching here live as we're going on, or you're going to be watching on YouTube later on, you may, as I'm about to give our little social media contact information, get distracted, get dazzled by the middle part of our panel here. They're looking.
Oh
we
my
have a lot of
God,
fight going on.
dazzling.
Yes.
Dazzling.
Yeah, yeah. I was just so blinded by all the white shirt going on.
That's only on this side.
I was gonna do a little shout out to Neath Jewelry. Alexis and I are wearing lovely pieces by that. They're on Instagram at NEITH Jewelry.
Which of the pieces? I'm just curious.
Necklace and this ring here.
Necklace, and she has
Those
a
are
ring
pretty,
on
actually.
too.
Those are really
As I
pretty.
reach across in your frame.
This one. Did you see the finger? That
Yes.
was that one.
That looks like 3 eyeballs. That looks like 3 of the mothership. Or no, not the mothership, but the...
The lifeboat.
Yeah,
looks
you
like
know.
the lifeboat eye.
Yeah.
Alas, my
timeless
fingers
and-
remain unadorned. But
Oh, the
anyway,
boys feel
folks.
sad they don't have jewelry.
Oh, there you
going
go.
on. Yeah.
Oh. Alexis and I are taking it to the next level. Sorry, Neil.
Sorry, Neil.
But folks, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hop in the chat. We've got the chat
Yes.
up and running right now. We want to hear your
Yes.
thoughts about this episode or the series in general. So let's just jump right into it. Look at
Let's
this.
do
And
it.
speaking of that, jumping right into it, I like how this episode, a little change of pace. It wasn't like a little
Yes.
setup. It just
Yeah.
jumped right into the action.
Yeah, they were running.
Yeah.
Now, did we see that at the end of the last episode, or did it just went straight into
No,
it?
no, no.
Yeah,
This
in
is
media res, as they like to say.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was
and I
right
love how
away.
it wasn't like 8 hours earlier. It was
Yes.
like,
No,
oh yeah,
I'm
no.
glad
we're-
they didn't.
Yeah,
they just
we
went
didn't need
into
it.
Running, that's the way it goes.
They at least explained it of like, yeah, this is already happening and we've been doing this, not like they didn't need to visually show us. They just were like, guys, we've been doing this for 3 days.
Yes.
So that
know.
set us
They
up,
set
and I
the
like
scene.
that. I like the change of pace, and I like that they were in danger, like getting stuck, because it was about time that happened. Because we've had that discussion of like, isn't someone gonna find their ship just sitting around the middle of nowhere and do something to it? So
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like the general theme of the show is that 1754, not a great place to be stranded if you can.
no,
I don't think any of the places they've been have been good places to be stranded.
maybe the '60s.
60s was pretty good, I think. What happened? oh,
Modern
God.
technology and medicine. I think as long as you got that, you're
Right.
Yeah, as soon as
Ish.
that doctor or surgeon, excuse me, brought out his tools, I was like, oh my god, all the rust, so gross.
But they do have an affinity. They get captured and by Lieutenant Louis Cadone, who's the only man that Washington ever surrendered to. And
That's
so,
really
Yeah.
interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Does
I like
anybody
that.
know that history?
No.
I did not know that, but I
And
could
so they
look
think
it
they're
up.
British spies, and so they're going to hang them. But let's not feed them because his son is there as well. It's like, should we feed them? Like, no, just to hang them? No, we don't want to do that. You're too soft, just like your mother
I
raised you
think
too soft.
it was even more like so they could have energy to get away, even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. So
Mean dad, gosh.
I mean, but he also
They don't get their final dinner.
Nope, not even a little bit.
No, but I feel like the whole arc of this episode, especially with our characters, is we were kind of left in a really rocky place from last episode where a
Yes.
lot of secrets were revealed, which we were
Right.
excited about, but it kind of put a little fracture in their relationship. So
Yep.
this is about rebuilding that team again.
Well, then it's good they went through such an extreme circumstance because then they have that like intense bonding experience. Because you have to. It's that or you
Yeah.
die.
That's kind of in group in group structure, how it works is they go through these stages of forming and then storming. So that's a natural thing that happens where they're looking for leadership and seeing if everybody's in the group, and then they have to go through the process of storming to get back to what they call norming and performing. Yeah, so it's a natural thing. So when people are in that storming phase, they don't have to freak out. They know that this is part of, if you have a larger view on it, that it's part of what has to happen in order to get to a greater level of performance.
And that's why I'm building a time machine, folks, only for team building purposes.
Team building.
That's right. I will only strand people in 1754.
People would sign up for that too, like in a heartbeat. I hate this guy. Punch. I want to go on to a time machine. Sign me up.
Team
Just
building
one.
through the ages.
Yeah, I like it.
But our crew does escape. Unfortunately, Wyatt has to kill Cadone's son, though, unfortunately. So.
Yeah.
Now, that's a pretty big kill.
That was a better one, though, where at least he fought for a while, and
Yes.
it was one of those, like, this isn't working, and I don't want to die.
Yeah.
See, I was kind of proud of Wyatt stepping up because it's like he has all the post-traumatic stress that we've seen from the previous episodes. So he's kind of been, he was kind of reticent to really jump into that
Yes.
role, and now he just seems to be owning it. So it seems that the division in the team caused him to kind of get over his own stuff enough to assert himself more. Because he's being tougher now. He's kicking
Yeah.
people's asses and taking names.
I think the one thing I do like about this episode that Ivan actually mentioned in the chat was we didn't see any Flynn tonight. I liked
No.
that.
That's a refresh.
I mean, not saying that I don't want him in the show completely. I just said it was just refreshing not
Good
to see
change of
him in there.
pace.
Yeah.
It still kind of feels like interesting what Flynn's motivation was, because they're not exactly sure. They surmise that the idea is that when they do go back to the lifeboat, they see Flynn's men putting C4 on the mothership, probably to detonate it. The idea is probably to stop stranding them back in the past. But it seems like Flynn needs Lucy, at least at some point, to stay alive, to be able to write the journal that gets back to him.
Yes, I thought that was weird. Maybe his men acted without his consent.
Although if you have the mothership, the lifeboat's destroyed, you can go back at any
You can
time.
always
Just
go back
take
and get
Lucy.
her.
But
and
we
then
don't
bring
we
her
don't
back.
know where the journal comes from. So it could be written into the story that the journal was found anywhere, whether she was stranded back there and wrote it
True.
while sitting in a.
Yeah, that could have made sense.
I was so happy, and I cheered, and I think you cheered too, when Wyatt actually shot at Flynn's guys.
It took like I know
he's
that
so
like
quick to kill random Joe Schmoes, but the people who are
I
trying
love
to
how
destroy
like he
you,
already
he's
had
like,
the detonator. He's like inching towards it, and he was like, I'm gonna wait last minute," and
yes.
then shot
But
at
I was
him.
like, yes.
Because I love how
That's pretty spot on.
If you saw, like we were just kind of inching towards the TV, like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it?
Yes.
Ah,
But that's how
he
they
did
want
it.
you.
No, that's why. But at the same time, I was like, you need to be faster. Like, stop it.
And I was almost thinking, was Wyatt going to pull Captain Jack Harkness and hold on to the side of the mothership as it took
Yes.
back?
But you would have died.
Well, because the TARDIS has like a force field around it.
Yeah.
The mothership
Ship does not.
I like that Rufus is like, no, you're going to die.
Please come back.
So unfortunately, now they're stranded back in 1754. So not
That's
excited.
rough.
Yeah, and then but always interesting to see Rufus, of course, feeling like, well, we're going to die here. But when Lucy just keeps pressing him, it's like, all right, well, I guess if we did this, and this, we could make something that I could at least
Yes.
patch up the ship for one trip back.
Yeah. I'm glad they finally get on the practical train of like, okay, stop whining. Literally, what are things you need right now? Like, give me, like, let's do something. Because if you're going to sit around, you're going to die. So you may as well try to do something and not die.
But we have to have the whining moment so that we know how
Little
serious it
bit,
is
yeah.
before they turn it around.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing we learned, too, is that they actually have a protocol established in place. So
Yeah.
Which I'm glad, because I was scared it was going to be like, yeah, we have nothing for this. I'm like, but you should probably plan ahead for if things happen and you get
Yes.
stuck. Because, I mean, again, how we thought, and we're not time travelers. I mean, we
Right.
could be. But
We wouldn't tell you if we were.
yes. But the fact that it's like, hey, what would happen if someone's like, oh my gosh, let's go to the dinosaur age and a T-Rex stomped on our time machine.
Yeah.
How do we
What
get
do we
out of
do?
there? So I like that it kind of reminded me of like any other time traveling show. If you do Legends of Tomorrow, there was a point in time where she found the same helmet that one of the guys had in the future. She wrote a note and stuck it in the helmet, and then it eventually showed up in the
Frequency,
helmet.
they do the same thing in Frequency where
Yeah.
they bury messages.
Yeah,
They
if
do-
you've seen Interstellar and how he like leaves clues for his daughter and things like that. Like, I mean, I hope I didn't ruin the movie for everybody, but whatever.
Yeah.
It came out a while ago. Spoiler alert. Anyway, so, but anyway, that's
She's
like
such a nerd.
it's a big trope in time travel. Anything that
Yes.
if you leave a note in the past, someone will find it in the future.
Well, it didn't work when Wyatt tried to do his note for his girl.
Yeah. Well, I love that it doesn't work every time.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's
you,
not
no, you just
perfect.
can't send it through, what was it, Pony Express or something? It was
Western
a
Union.
Western Union. No,
Apparently, they're not very reliable.
yeah.
Did you guys like the flux capacitor?
I did.
Flux capacitor.
I love the fact that he was just like,
too.
"Oh, do you need a flux capacitor?" No.
Dude, that's not real.
And I was like, wow. And I love how Lucy's like, so
Burn.
how about, so how do we make a real capacitor? And I was like, wow. That's
Yeah, you know,
unfortunate.
props to Wyatt for trying. It's not like he knows tech stuff. So
No,
he's
of
like,
course not.
the
I mean, he knew
thing.
something. He was like,
Yeah.
oh, capacitor. I know that word.
Yes.
You know, I was kind of surprised by it because they filmed this in Vancouver and there was all the French speaking, but you could, like, I could tell from the accents because I've spoken French.
there you go.
French.
Little language
But-
brag.
Yeah, I don't mean to brag.
It's all right. We had a Spanish
speak
brag
French.
when that happened too.
No, but yeah, but when you heard the accents, most of them were not French Canadian accents. I was like listening for the French Canadian, and then they didn't really have. I didn't hear any French Canadian, which they might have been made a point of not bringing those accents in because they sound distinctly different from French accents from France. But they were more Vancouver type accents of people speaking French, which I thought was kind of interesting that they didn't take natural French speakers, which was just kind of interesting.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
Lucy did pretty darn good.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
Now, while they're figuring out the plan, they have to go to Fort Duquesne, which is actually where all the French soldiers that are after them were from. So, like, we're going back into the
know.
Hornet's Nest if we're doing that. But they're also really kind of have that little stress moment there where Wyatt's like, hey, I need to be able to have people on my back that I can support. And Rufus is like, this is what you live for. You're a survivalist. That's why we are on the team. And I like that Wyatt's like, we're at Delta Forces, it's more than that. You need to have people on your back that you can
Yes.
trust. I'm not just one person.
Yeah, it was a little harsh, but it's true.
But yeah, no, it was understandable where he was
Yeah.
coming from, even though I was already irritated with him. So
Yeah.
but then we get our turnaround moment because
Yeah.
when they're captured by the Indians,
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, you can't have the French-Indian War without seeing Indians.
right? And you can't have the turnaround moment without having him being really pissed.
Yep.
You know, it's
Yes.
kind of that builds the
Yeah.
anticipation in the moment.
No, there was a reason for the whininess and the anger and everything. Like the emotions were to help the plot through.
They had to play it out some way, yeah. And they did a pretty good job moving
think
it
they
from
did
one
great.
place to the next. We all knew that they were going to be upset when they heard it,
course.
and they did it over one episode where they
Yeah,
came to
thank
classic
I was
bonding.
glad
So
all that got
glad.
wrapped up in this episode.
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't
If
think
it lingered, it would have been too much. Yeah.
oh, it would have been so annoying to
wouldn't have
watch them
made-
like fight.
It wouldn't have made sense as adults. We should be able to get through it, talk
Yeah.
it out, and move on with our lives. Like that's what it's supposed to do. Especially the fact that there's such big.
And they're all
things.
guilty.
Yeah.
Like none of them was like a saint of I didn't do anything wrong. So it was nice that they're like, okay, fine, let's move past it. Go.
So they had to make them all guilty a little bit, huh? So they had to
To a
throw in
point,
that
yeah.
Wyatt didn't share
But it
his
also,
story
but it also
fully
shows
and-
that
yeah.
nobody is perfect. Everybody has flaws, whether it's something that you're being forced to do or something you didn't even have any control over that happened in the future. Like it just shows that you can make mistakes at any point in time.
Yeah.
And
I'd
still
rather
be
just,
good team
yeah,
members.
and I'd rather just see more moments of them strategizing and compare notes going forward, like as they're working
Yes,
towards
yes.
together.
With a
towards this goal.
bonding moment of Marcus saying, hey, or Marcus, of Rufus. Sorry, Marcus. Of Rufus saying, you got to kill me too if you're going to kill them.
Yes.
Then you look at, I'm sorry, did I jump ahead?
No, it's fine.
Said Rufus, then after.
I said
okay.
Marcus, then
Yeah.
Rufus.
Okay, I was like, who's Marcus?
He's jumping a little ahead.
Okay.
Did I jump ahead? But that's why, so we're to where the Indians capture them?
Yeah, the Indians capture them, and the only other beat that we have in between there is just. Gia
Okay,
and
sorry, I'm
Mason.
just gonna shut
no,
up.
that's fine. Just like in present day, we're seeing them work on the protocol method from their end as well.
Yes.
Too.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of jumped ahead a little bit just to show our audience that yes, you can make mistakes and it's all right and still.
I was just thought I missed a
bonded.
character that was named Marcus. I was like, what's happening?
Is there somebody new introduced?
Yeah, I missed that completely.
no, Marcus Barrett.
You mean Malcolm Barrett?
Malcolm, shit.
It's going well.
I was thinking of Marcus Lemonis on The Prophet that I do
No.
also. So, Malcolm's like, what the hell?
We're gonna fix this back in our time machine. Don't worry.
Yeah, take me back. But seriously, so there's two examples of being able to make a mistake and being accepted by the team.
And I did
Alexis,
like them.
you accept me, don't you?
No, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
reading the
yeah,
chat. Yes, sorry. I was reading the chat. Ivan said that Wyatt was in the right. And technically, he didn't do anything wrong, but at the same time, he's still a brat. So, yeah. To me.
He should be the more leader, objective one to be out of the situation.
And
like,
he usually is to
Yeah.
a point. It's just that because the fact that
He's a bit moody.
the fact that he's still hurting, even though again I don't really know how much time has passed between his wife passing away, even though,
That's
again,
true.
time doesn't heal all wounds. We all know that. It's hard to sit there and listen to him harp on Lucy about his sister or her sister when we're like, we already talked about this. It's
Yes.
a different situation.
Yep.
But
I don't think we're going to see much of that anymore, quite frankly.
I hope
After Rufus putting himself on the line where he said, "Hey, you're going to have to kill me too." I think that's really for me the turnaround moment.
Yeah.
Where Wyatt says, "Okay, we're a team now because now we're like Delta Force. I can
Yes.
count on you."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
risked
thought the
your
other,
life.
yeah, I thought the other moment too is when Lucy tells Wyatt, it's like, you told me to find out what I'm fighting for and do it, and I'm fighting for Amy. And you see
Yes.
Wyatt's face is like, well, yep.
But I love it because he
did
tried to
say
play it
that.
off like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And I was like, you're so stupid.
That's what you told her specifically to do.
Yeah, that was your exact words, you bum.
Yeah, and they kind of came. They did, but they did come full circle where it's like, no, you deserve to be able to save her if that's what you want. You to save your life.
Yes.
Yep.
Because she kind of stood up for him at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, we get another instance there of as they're captured and the chief comes in to talk to them, Lucy uses another fake name, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
The chiefess.
Yes.
I love how she tried. She tried it.
Oh,
And I
that
was like,
so funny.
no.
I wouldn't lie to them either. They're Native
And,
Americans. They know they can talk to the trees.
I don't know her name, but it's the babe from, she's from the L Word. Mm-hmm.
I was like, hello.
Yes.
From the L word. That's a
It's a HBO, is it HBO show?
L is
Showtime.
Showtime, thank
L
you.
is lesbian, right?
In that show, that's the main thing. So she plays, I think her actual background is like French and Native something.
American.
I
Yeah,
think
she did look a
something.
little
She
native,
is.
and
Yeah.
But yeah, she's very beautiful actress.
She's so
and
great.
It was cool when she walked on screen. I was like, oh, that's the lady. And she just has this very commanding presence to her.
And I love that the chief was a woman.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Because Native Americans and other Native peoples understand that women can rule too.
So I thought for a second, Rufus was going to actually tell her we're from the future.
I almost thought he was, and I'm like, they might actually believe in that.
Exactly,
Of like, they
exactly.
might be okay to understand travel in a.
And the magic of
Yeah.
it, and
But it was better to say, because that was the thing, they could understand he was lying when they were lying, so he said
Right.
all the truth, just not the other part about like we're from the future, like we're not supposed to be here. That's true.
And it does,
worked.
and I like that she understood that it would, in that time frame, the fact that it would mean a lot if your slave was actually trying to
Yes.
protect the people who
Exactly.
yeah, it was good reasoning. It was good
Yes.
reasoning on her part, and you could see where honor and those types of things in the tribe would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made sense, and I thought that was really cool that they did that research instead of him just believing him just because, I don't know, he's got a cute face or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I think that's Alexis talking.
yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
I feel like Rufus is my favorite character not because I can relate to him as a character, just because I feel like he's well-rounded, he's learned a lot, and he's gone through a lot. As the fact that he was this quiet character and now he's kind
he
of
stepped up in
Yeah,
this episode.
you know.
Him in the
Yeah,
blacksmith shop.
I mean,
too.
same-
He's like, I gotta do this.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not saying that Lucy or Wyatt has not hit that point, but I feel like Rufus is just a tad more. His character has gone through an arc to a point.
No,
If that
that's
makes
true.
sense.
Well, because I feel like of all three of them, he's the one that's getting the most pressure put on him from all ends.
From all,
Right.
yeah, from literally every
We
single
get.
angle.
I think we've got to see the most depth to his character.
Exactly,
development,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is
He's
interesting.
changed the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's why, at least to me, I think Rufus is my favorite character so far. So
Now,
Yeah.
I'm of two minds because I mentioned, like she says, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and I feel like, is it just the writers just getting like a cheap laugh every episode? They can just use a modern day reference back in the past. But then I also think, well, if they're using their real names constantly,
Right.
then their names get recorded in history.
Throughout
so,
history,
Yeah, the people
yeah.
are like, why is
Yeah.
this Lucy Preston lady keep showing up again?
Right.
and
Or
again and
if you're
again?
in that dire situation and like it's a goofy name, but that would kind of first come to your head of like,
I'm Elvis.
okay.
I don't know.
yeah, because I mean, it's what would you think of in that emergency
Yeah.
situation right now? And
Maybe
you're
my
like,
real name.
Maybe my real name.
I'm
Or
Frank.
you could do like your first name and not give your last
Yeah,
name.
I think,
exactly.
I think that's what they've been mostly doing so far, is just saying, I'm Lucy, this is Wyatt, and this is Rufus, and I think they should stick to that.
Yeah.
Just
But
in case.
then you have the Lucy, Wyatt, and
Yes.
Rufus appearing throughout history, and
I
we
mean-
questioned that after a while. I think.
The
Of course. Just the three
Lucy,
of them, if
Wyatt,
they
and
kept
Rufus.
using their names
Oh,
every
yeah.
single time they traveled.
As long as you don't say
happening.
Marcus.
That's right. Yeah. I'm Joe Mama. Yeah,
Mama.
That's right.
That would be great. I hope they put
Joe
that as a
Mama.
name. I would be so happy if it was just like, I'm Joe Mama. Oh, and they're like, oh, that's a weird name.
That was like with Kanye. They were like, that's a
Kanye.
weird
That's
name.
a terrible name.
See, that was a writer thing that was funny.
That was pretty good.
I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
okay, Kanye, you better.
Oh, that was so
I think
good.
maybe it was worse because it's like Dr. Quinn, and then you're like, medicine woman, like that.
I didn't need her to say that she was a medicine woman.
Yeah.
I think that was too.
But that was the only part
Yeah.
that was Indian.
And the
Native American.
Not even that.
But she
just
didn't
like,
have to do
we're
that.
doctors
Right.
of like we're neutral, like we're not.
Yeah.
fighting,
Yeah, she
but-
shouldn't have lied to the Native Americans.
Like, because it was just weird because to me it was kind of like it's like you're either you're pretending to be Native American, which you're clearly not, or you're trying to be like, I don't think you know what a doctor is, so I'm going to tell you I'm a medicine woman, and you're like.
Yeah.
So like either way, it was a terrible lose-lose situation.
Lucy's allowed to make mistakes as well.
No, again, I like that. Like with her also, how she used to be like,
She
I
said
hate
it,
everything.
And then she was like,
I regret everything.
she's like, that was a horrible
That was
idea.
a dumb idea. It's okay. It's okay, Lucy.
But we do get a little bonding as they're sitting there waiting for the chief to come in and talk about like how Rufus wants to eat his body weight in crocodiles.
Crocodiles! I love guys. I wish you could have saw us when we were watching all three of them because I did this when he said it, and all
We're
three
like-
of my hosts were like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I literally just looked it up on my computer and just turned
Are
around.
they
and went,
real?
That's what. Why do you think I showed you the picture?
No, it's a real thing.
They're called chocolate. They're called chocolate Twinkies, but they were also called
I'm
chocolate
gonna be
dials.
really ignorant on this question,
Go
but
for
is
it.
that a regional thing or a specific
I don't know.
group
that
people eat them thing?
I
Okay.
literally don't know.
Like,
Like, if you
cheese
lived
curds.
on,
If
like-
cheese curds are regional. That's
Yeah,
like
there's regional foods that you'd be
Wisconsin.
like, I don't know this.
I have
Okay.
no idea. I just know this neighbor of mine. I remember. I guess as a kid. As a kid, I wasn't allowed to have a lot of sugar. So when my mom used to work late, my neighbor would watch me, and so he brought over these chocolate Twinkies because I told him I never had a Twinkie before, and then he gave me a chocolate Twinkie, and that's what it was, and that was my first Twinkie. So I don't know. He was white, if that helped. Like,
All right.
yeah. So
What state?
no, it's here in California.
Okay.
Oh, well, looks like, folks, the Crocodile will be the official treat of the Timeless After Show. So
Okay, there you go.
this space looks pretty
We
empty
should
right
do
now.
it next time and we'll try them.
We'll try them
little
on the
taster.
air.
Yeah.
I can actually look them up to see where they came
All
from.
right,
See
guys,
if
we're
they'll
all
send us some
crocodiles.
free
I got the
wanna know.
history of crocodiles.
I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this.
So while she's looking at this crucial information, because we need it, guys, we
Yeah.
definitely need it.
Yes. We need to know.
Keeps us going.
Our team makes it back to the French.
You can buy them on
Fort
Amazon.
Duquesne.
Sorry.
Look at this. Thank you, Internet. And we get that nice little montage of Rufus rebuilding the parts necessary to repair the lifeboat.
I need a
Yes.
montage. Remember,
Yeah.
did you guys see Team America?
That's right.
Montage.
Always.
But now, you guys said that it was, and this is where I turned my head away to tweet or something. When you said it was protocol that they bury the information someplace, was it just, what was the protocol exactly? If you
Well,
lose
that was
your...
the weird thing with it is they didn't say the protocol is
Right.
step 1, step 2, step 3. He just says we have the protocol, and then he gets a canister. He writes something down, puts it in the canister. You need to bury it 3 feet exactly at this spot, and then they're like, never mind, we need to go deeper. So they were specific and vague, but at the same time.
Oh, so they said that in the future, we have a protocol, let's start digging.
Yes. So the idea is like you bury it somewhere, and then the protocol is they'll look it up. Which how would they know in the future to look at that spot?
That's what I was
That's where
thinking,
they
like, where
landed.
They have the coordinates of where they land.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's
Yeah.
the protocol.
Oh,
It's
so
like
you
where
bury it where you land.
So pretty
3
much
feet in front of it.
pretty much remember when we were able to find the technically Flynn's mothership
Yes.
within a certain radius. They
Exactly.
can track
Okay.
the lifeboat way better because it's an older prototype, and the fact that they have a protocol where it has to be buried 3 feet in front of the lifeboat.
Yeah.
So that was just their plan. That was their backup plan.
And the
Yeah.
reason that he was pounding it out was because they didn't have paper back then, or he couldn't find paper, or it
Oh
would
no, that was
deteriorate over
because there was a
time.
hole in the ship, and so
Are you talking
he was
about when
building
he's
a patch.
when he's inside the blacksmith area?
Yeah, how he decided to make the note the way
No,
he
no,
made
no,
it.
no. He had a
That
piece of
wasn't
paper.
the note. You're
Shit.
thinking two separate things.
Chris, you're doing too much
Okay.
swinging across
Dude,
after
so-
the Timeless After Show.
No, what was he pounding out? I thought he was
He
pounding
was
out the...
pounding out metal that he got from the flask
Yeah.
to patch the hole in the ship. And
Oh,
prior
shit.
to that,
Okay, I thought he was
he's
making the
standing
note
next
in
to
the
the ship.
blacksmith.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
what
no,
the-
no, no, no. There was a point in time when you
I must have been
missed it.
tweeting.
Yeah, no. During that point in time, he was standing next to. He was on the lifeboat. He had a piece of parchment, and he was writing on coordinates and things like that. And then
He had, like, full
rolled-
notes.
Yeah, and then he rolled it up, put it in the cylinder, and they buried it. And this
Yes.
is when he was saying that he's like, it's either we get smallpox and we die, or we, or they find us and whatever.
Okay.
And then fast forward into it. That's when he was picking stuff out of the place when they brought in Wyatt with the blood on the back of his
Yes.
jacket.
Right.
That's when he went into the blacksmith
Yeah.
and he was pounding it.
Okay.
Which that was a really good lie because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how are they gonna walk around with a giant blood stain on their back? Which someone in the chat, Melissa, pointed out with Lucy and Wyatt, and talking to the French doctor, that, like how she said she was a nurse. That was a good lie.
No, it was
I was
great.
like, no, I'm his nurse. I already looked at him, and then even like, this is my slave. He's gonna.
No,
go
it was
get us up.
perfect.
Yeah.
Those were good lies. But they're also
She
lying
learned.
to people that aren't like.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That aren't
They're
going to
like,
kill
"Oh,
him
okay,
based on the
I know,
story. Yeah,
whatever."
that's.
But it's a plausible lie, and
Right.
like you go, okay, sure.
I found the history of a chocolate dial.
Ah, yes.
So the chocolate dial mascot was formerly known. Wait, no, I'm not gonna get into that. Pretty much since the late 1990s, chocolate dials have no longer been sold on the East Coast of the United States. Host has had a few West Coast factories making them around that time to ensure the product's freshness. So I'm assuming because I'm a 90s baby, that's probably where I found it. There was a debate whether to keep the chocolate dial or turn them into chocolate-covered Twinkies, and now in 2014, you can buy them as chocolate dial Twinkies. That's what they are. They're usually labeled as fun size. so
Yeah,
you
because
can
the
buy them.
package at the end that they brought, not
Yes.
to reveal too much too soon, but it said Twinkies on it, and I was like,
It did, yeah. They're now called just chocolate
Chris,
Twinkies.
how could you? Let's say goodbye. Guys, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, great.
Give us 5 stars on iTunes. We're done.
there he is.
That's
He
it.
climaxed before.
Yeah. So apparently, it's actually been brought up in several TV shows: American Dad, Venture Brothers, Total Drama Island, Boys in the Hood, Angel, Psych, That 70 Show, Lie to Me, Summer School, and now Timeless.
Man,
So,
summer school guys. Yes,
it is a
Mark Harvey,
thing.
Christy Alley. There you go. That's all good. So now, while they're busy back in 1754,
And then I'm
Karen.
sorry, I wanted to go back. And so the chiefess is Karina Lombard. And there we go. I was like, wanted to get her name. So she's modeled from New York. And then I was trying to find her. Sorry, I jumped ahead. I'm like, wait, I thought, she was born in Tahiti and raised in Spain. So
Really?
there we go. And then she's
Sweet.
fluent in English, Spanish, Italian, French, and German.
Wow.
Hold up, what's her name?
Karina Lombard.
Karina Lombard. And she's born in Tahiti. The Tahitian people are beautiful people.
Well, then
And she's
that's,
mixed,
that's
too.
also
Yeah.
Did Tahiti have French settlers as well?
Yes.
So then that
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's
if
completely
she has
French speaking. I lived in
very-
Tahiti for 6 months.
Yeah.
interesting look.
Beautiful place to live. Yeah, and she does have the Tahitian bone structure.
And you can see a lot of her on the L word.
Yes, you can.
A lot.
Yes, quite a bit. Quite a bit.
I know a
Crystal knows
Tahitian
that.
song. Torea te manu.
Yes.
Timeless?
Look at this, guys.
Anyways.
This is a treasure trove of fun facts here on the Timeless After Show.
There we go. Somebody said in Miami. Ivan said that's why I've never seen crocodiles in Miami.
Yeah, because it looks like it
Okay.
hasn't been on the East Coast since 1990.
Yeah.
I can't believe there was this whole debate about whether they should call them chocodiles or chocolate Twinkies. I
Yeah.
mean, who would know that it was such a
Apparently,
big thing?
Hostess has really good debates about the naming of their
Right.
product.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
according
Right.
to Wikipedia.
But do we think that they should have called them chocolate Twinkies or chocodiles? That's the real question.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're
yeah, we'll probably find
staying
out.
on this a little too
Yeah, we can find out on the
Moving on.
Hostess After Show.
Tweet
Check
with
it
us
out.
after.
Yes.
Yes.
Check out the Hostess After Show
Yes.
here on AfterBuzz TV. We get really deep into
Right.
the Hostess goods. But if any of the East Coast listeners there, just tweet at Alexis. She'll make sure you guys get
We
your
could speak for
check it out
hours
Yes.
on that alone.
Yes, for sure. But we see in present day, they're working on the protocol. They find the tube, but it's been cracked. And so what Rufus has written in there has kind of been erased through the ages of time, that are except for a couple words and some letters. So
Yeah.
we've got millennium, we get death, millennium.
It's like Wheel of
couple letters.
Fortune.
Yeah.
Solve the
really-
puzzle.
But I
I was looking
really
for.
liked the fact that they tried to save it as much as they could, because usually with old parchment and things like that, if air hits it, it starts to
Right.
oxidize
Yeah.
and things like that. So I love that they had a box ready,
Yeah.
and gloves
Yes.
already to like open it up and try to see if they can find
I
something.
like. I
But the
That was
protocol
cool. They
worked,
did-
but what blew me away is that you were so nerdy that
She guessed it.
She guessed before they revealed that it was going to pull them in like the Death Star,
The only
or like with the Millennium Falcon.
it just didn't make sense, because why would you use the word millennium? Like it just you're in like
It's a
it doesn't
weird
make
word.
See,
it's
I
a
think
weird word.
millennium. I think millennials. There's so many different things it could be.
But why would it be like am
Why
I
would he write that?
yeah,
But
like,
and then the show did a good job of leading you to it, because they had the Comic-Con reference. So then they already set
Right.
up like nerd. He's like, you
Yeah,
know,
as soon
Yes.
that's also what kind of
that was
tipped
a
me
big
off.
hint.
Yeah.
But it was just like you are amazing.
well,
You're
thank
like
you.
Yes.
a Comic-Con psychic or something.
For many reasons, not just
I
that.
have too much time on my hands
Yes.
and a lot of TV to watch.
So we
but
get
yeah.
Connor talking to Gia, and we find out a little bit of the backstory between her and Rufus's. And we
Now,
find out-
did we hear anything about that before this episode, or was
What?
it just
No,
kind of sprung?
no.
well, no, we always know that Rufus
That-
has kind of fancied her, but
No,
we
they
don't
made
know.
it a little bit of
Okay.
a thing,
Little
but
tension?
not enough, clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, especially I liked that we got Mason trying to check up on her and make her feel like everything's gonna be okay and here's a
Yes.
drink and things like that. And I love how that story came up of actually knowing that how they first met was through the fact that she had a triple on her desk and
Yes.
and the fact that they couldn't be friends because he's a Star Wars fan and she's a Star Trek fan.
Now, is that true? Can you like both franchises equally, or do you have to
Yes.
pick one?
Yes, I think
you
it's
can like
I think
both.
it's dumb for people
They're
to sit there to argue about that. I mean, some people
they
are
do,
totally
don't
fine with
they?
it. Of course, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do it. I have it at my day job sometimes because I love Star Wars and my friends love Star Trek, and we don't argue about it, but it does come up sometimes.
Nice. Well, I've got a
So-
team building time machine that I can take you back.
Yeah,
to
there you go.
before
See,
we get to this
it'll
issue.
be great.
Yeah,
but
it'll be
like,
great.
I mean, if you're a true nerd in a fact of just being accepting of everybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
Well said.
Yeah.
Nice. And we
And
also
you-
get a
That could be
bit
kind of
of,
the message or the moral of is to love
Because
everybody.
because I mean that's why I like the cosplay community, because it's not fair to sit there and judge somebody because they're portraying a certain character and maybe they're a little chubbier or maybe they're too skinny for a
Or
bigger
the wrong color.
or
And
the
they're
wrong
like,
color.
Oh no, you're doing the wrong thing.
yeah,
I'm
like oh you
"What?"
can't be Belle because you're Hispanic. Like that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you
you're
should
really
do-
making a statement about the larger state of the nation as you talk about these cosplayers and stuff and Belle, and there's like metaphorical references. That,
No.
No,
Okay.
it's literally just
the cosplay community.
if you love something, be passionate about it. Who gives a crap what other people think? Just do it.
Got it.
Aha.
that.
Got it.
But we also see a little bit of Connor's backstory with Rufus as well. How he found him there at a high school that was just really gang ridden.
I like
and
that
little signs for-
story.
Yeah, it was nice to hear a little bit of
That's
backstories
sweet.
there.
Yeah.
And he said, like, if I saw somebody that also cared about his brother, was responsible, was also a genius, and if he was going to make it, I wanted him to make it while he was working for me.
Yep. It was
So-
great. It was really nice to see their start, because at first I was like, I don't know if they're childhood friends because Mason looks a little older than him, and so it was kind of nice to see like
Do
how
we
that started.
trust Mason more now with this reveal?
I
Or
feel
was
like
suspicious?
I think I've always deep down trusted Mason, that I'm hoping that he is for the greater good, but I'm also scared that he's gonna be like, I tricked you.
But what
and
about
it'll
him
suck.
standing up to the guy
I-
from Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
but like I said, he might be just trying to become the head of Rittenhouse, so he's just being sassy to be sassy.
I trust him. I think he's a good guy in a bad place.
Yep.
I feel like I trust his relationship with Rufus. I
Yes.
don't know enough else yet to know how much I trust him either way, but
That's why
I
I'm
feel
in the middle.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like
Although he was standing up for his team, he's like, I want my team back, my
Yes.
team. And my
Yeah.
so I think he's starting to reveal a little bit of his good guy nature
Yeah.
that we haven't seen really up until
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah, and we see the if he's connected with Rittenhouse, but Lucy's dad, we see like he's tipping his hand a little too bit as he's mentioning to Connor a lot about Lucy.
Right.
Yes. Now, okay. Somebody in the chat, I think it was Ivan, pointed
Ivan,
out.
yes.
Now we know that her dad's part of Rittenhouse. I'm like, no, not necessarily. That is not confirmed.
We
know she's important. We know somebody put her there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily. It's not 100% confirmation. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I have a prediction about that, but I'll wait until
Okay.
But
until
yes.
the end.
So we actually get back to the time machine. We set it all up. The French soldiers are attacking. They get inside after a couple like false little bits of tension. We lost the power. We lost the power. They get back to present day, and I do like that it crash lands. It doesn't land elegantly.
Yes.
back where it's
Yeah,
supposed
that
to.
was nice.
That was a really nice bit
Yes.
when it gets back to present day. Nice little crash landing, and we have that little tender reunion. Everybody gets out, and we
Go
get a
get
little
drinks,
moment. Yes,
yeah.
and then we get to see Alexis and Carrie. They're all excited when Rufus and Jai have a little moment.
Knew
But they
it. I was waiting for it.
so
We're like,
wanted
and-
the
I was like,
kiss.
I was like,
and-
now kiss, now kiss, smush
Go,
face.
What
and
is
we
with
knew that she was gonna do it.
How come the ladies do that and we don't do that? How come we're not like, oh, kiss?
So wait, are
kiss,
you
kiss.
single? That's why.
Oh,
Snap.
Oh, that was great. That was the best part today. Oh my god, just snaps. Just so much snaps. Oh my god. So good. God.
Whatever.
Anyway, it was really awesome
Anyway.
seeing finally we got. Thank you.
Right.
It was really great finally getting that
because
kiss.
he's that person that he's not gonna proceed with it.
Yeah,
at
he
all.
doesn't wanna
so
feel
she
like-
has to really hit that green light to be like, no, really, come on.
And also to show
Yeah.
him like, hey, like this is okay. I like you.
because he's like,
we
what
can
was
move on."
that for? And you're like,
It's okay.
Oh,
It's just
boys are
he's
dense.
in he's a thinker, so he's overthinking
no,
every
he
single
is.
step as the time goes.
Yes,
and she's
it
just like,
is.
just do it, buddy.
yeah.
I love it.
And the last thing we get in the episode, well, other than our team bonding and a little chocolate doll action inside the bar, we do get Agent Christopher wanting to put a little surveillance on Connor
Yes,
Mason.
that
Yeah.
was
Which makes sense.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like the fact that we actually kind of got like a thing of like, oh, she actually has no idea what's happening.
Right.
She's just here to just do
So
her
there's
job.
there's like two different
No,
plot lines happening.
But
there,
it makes sense
But I
to
like
a
that
point.
she's picked up that something's going on. And she's like, wait, we need to do something about
Yeah,
this.
no, I think
So
it's
he's
awesome.
in
Yeah.
with Rittenhouse, and Rittenhouse is kind of manipulating him in the situation, his
Yeah, but
role in the situation.
but it also
Yeah.
makes sense because Mason has the money.
Yeah.
She's just kind of there to make sure everything just moves smoothly. Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she has a boss to answer to, but it's not Rittenhouse. It's just a different
And
part
it's
of the
not
government.
Mason. It's like they're
No,
two they're on equal standing. Her
Yeah.
and Mason, you say,
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's pretty much not one over the other. It's literally just they're here to do one
like
job.
two department heads,
Yes.
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was interesting because through this series so far, I was always wondering, like, what's her deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
she's
was nice to
literally
figure
just
out.
there to do her job, but now she's also going to start digging.
Yeah,
Which is going to be
it's-
very
so
interesting.
I kind of like having the team having somebody else, not just the three of them, that can be looking out for their best interests as
Right.
well.
Yes. So they can all have drinks, which I like that all their drinks look very stereotypical to what I think they would drink too. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Really?
She had-
what would,
she
what,
had,
what do you
like-
have them pinned as?
Well, she has the champagne,
Yeah.
and Rufus has a beer, and then Wyatt's probably some sort of whiskey
yeah, or
scotch.
Yeah.
Those are
a
pretty hard
manly
liquors.
drink. Yeah, like
I mean, I think they deserved it. They thought they were going to be
oh
stuck.
yes. No, like all those drinks, you're like, those are good choices, guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was just a very
I love that it was
direct
Apropos.
image to
Yeah.
show their personalities. Like it was
Yeah.
very like you know how that goes with each person.
And it was just nice to just see them kind of just relax.
Casual. People apparently
Yeah.
thought it was very fun seeing them in casual clothes.
See, because it's hard to see them with like
Very
it's
rarely.
very very quick. They're like, okay, we're here, and then now to get back into
Yeah.
costume.
Yeah.
So
It was very relaxing and seeing them like being normal. Like
Yeah, and I like
Hey,
the
guys.
conversation because it was, I mean, Lucy's worried about this journal, what this means to
Yes.
her. And as she tells Wyatt, she goes, how can I believe in fate and not my own fate?
yeah.
And so it was a nice little moment with Wyatt saying,
Oh,
you know,
but I liked his. Yes.
Yeah,
you
I
can,
wrote that down. You say
Mm-hmm.
history is nothing but a series of choices. If you're not
Yes.
happy with the history that Flynn has
Mm-hmm.
predicted for you, rewrite it.
Yes.
look at that.
This is motivational speech.
And there we go. We're going to end it at this. And so now we have a chance to do a couple little predictions because I know Alexis has got a prediction.
I might have actually forgotten it, but yes,
Ah.
I will do my best.
I
can go first.
predict that they will call them chocodiles. In the
Oh,
end.
the group.
No,
That'd be fun.
no. I mean, in
Oh, in the
Twinkies, they
debate.
won't call.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that eventually they're going to call them chocodiles. I mean, instead of chocolate Twinkies.
Sure. Yeah.
Good prediction.
Yeah.
Trying to
Thank you.
I don't want her father to be involved, Lucy's father to be involved with Rittenhouse, but it's highly likely he could be, but I want to hold out, like, maybe not. I hope we get more of that reveal sooner rather than later, but they might hold that off a bit. The next episode, though, it doesn't look like they're really going to get into that from what we've seen. And what's his name is back?
Matt Fewer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope we get a little more information from him next episode instead of just like him meddling in what's going on.
Yeah, because he seems like he's so reluctant
Yes.
about this, too. So it's like, it'd be
So
cool.
it's like,
Let's
can
hear
we
it.
all just sit down and talk and explain it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some nice
So
more
not
answers
really a
coming would be
prediction,
great.
but what I want to happen.
Some
There's nothing
hopes.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot my prediction because my brain farted. So I'm sorry.
We're
If I
talking
remember
about-
it,
What about Mason? Mason prediction?
I can't. Yeah, I can't remember. I know that for a fact that in my brain it feels like Mason is just playing. He's putting on an act because he wants to get ahead of Rittenhouse, get rid of Agent Christopher, and just kind of just be like, I have all the money, I have the power now, I can do whatever I want, I can rearrange history the way I want it. And in my brain, I'm thinking as a black man, he might want to just change things
Maybe.
for his not his race, but you know what I mean, like for his people to actually go through something. But this is just
Foreign, though, too, yes?
Yes.
So it's
So I don't
also
know.
a different background as well.
yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like because
Yeah.
also the fact that I'm assuming he's British. Like maybe he wants the Brits to actually fully take over and win the war. Like I have no idea. Like it just. I don't know what he's trying to completely pull off. That's just what my spidey senses are telling me.
But let me ask you a question. Is Mason, is he the one that's really behind the technology side of it? And then the woman, what's her name?
Agent Christopher.
Agent Christopher, is she kind of the governmental side? Is that, am I correct in my understanding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's kind of funded the technology, and he's behind the technology, and she's
But it's
on the
within
government.
his own, though.
Yeah,
But
like
it's
this
kind
is
of-
his,
yeah.
this is
Not
his company.
involved.
It's like a private company that says, hey,
no, it's Mason's company.
Yeah, but the government outsources to Mason's company and says, hey, put together a time machine.
No,
so
government's not involved at all. They're just coming here to police it and make sure.
But
he's
that
not
would be
doing
Agent
stuff.
Christopher, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's got this time machine technology, and then you've got Rittenhouse that appears to have some sort of control from a financial perspective on Mason. And
Yes.
they're very tough, and they're going to kill people if they,
Yes.
yeah. So then Lucy's father could very well be deeper into Rittenhouse as well. And God knows where I was going. I just had that same brain.
Yeah, see, it's
Yeah, I was just gonna
hard.
put
There's a
together-
lot of steps because I was trying to also implement Lucy's father
going
as well
someplace.
because I
Yeah.
felt like with him as well, even though we know that
Did we
there.
see him just the one time?
Yes,
Sorry
we
to cut
did.
you off.
Just the
It's
one time.
Only the one time on the phone, guys. Some people are like, we saw him before. And I'm like, no, we only saw him on the phone the one time. That's it.
Now, do we think her mother had anything to do with
No,
this?
she's
I don't think
completely
so.
innocent. I don't think she has anything to do
Yeah.
with. She has no idea what's happening because she doesn't actually talk to the real father at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just kind of a, but we don't know the in-depth story about the reason why they were divorced or anything
No,
like
it's
that.
not.
No,
Or they were never married. They were never married, right?
Yeah. They talked about it.
Yeah, she was pregnant.
He was
and
a professor, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay,
And she just moved on.
we believe that story.
Yeah.
Until we have reason to believe otherwise.
Yeah, otherwise. But
suppose.
yeah, I think that Lucy's father is involved to a point, but I also agree with Chris where he thinks that there's like a rebel alliance kind of thing that's happening as well. But I also think that Lucy's dad might be able to. I'm trying to think specifically of like how they can use Flynn and how he got the book and how. Lucy was involved. Like I'm
See-
trying to think of those steps in between because
Well,
it doesn't
that-
make sense.
That's
in my
why I was
head.
thinking that maybe her father had targeted her mother for the same reasons that they targeted Lucy, because she was this
Nope.
historian with all this information.
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
I don't know.
Those listening, some of us are just shake our heads,
That's
and
right.
then no.
Three of us are shaking our heads, and I was thinking I was going someplace good.
I feel
Yeah.
like if the mom was involved, she would have been in the
But
episode
she might not
more.
have known. Like, it could have been that there was a reason why he was sleeping with the historian, and then.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we won't know until later on into the season. I feel like if she was really important role, she would be in the episodes more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because all I feel is like we've had that great episode last week with Flynn and seeing his side of the equation. I'm looking forward to an episode where we're going to see more of Rittenhouse's side of the equation to kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, that would be nice
it'd be
to know
nice
more.
Yeah, just so even if the characters don't know more, at least the audience has a better understanding of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's for me. I just enjoy seeing the drama unfold if I have understanding of where everybody's coming from.
But we were saying this before we knew all the stuff that we know now, too. We're like, damn, they better wrap this thing up. I want to know who
Wait,
Rittenhouse
wait.
is. You know, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we were saying that.
Are we
Now
saying? Is the chat saying that the guy who stopped Rufus at his car was the dad? Because I
Yeah.
thought those were two different actors.
I'm like, that's two different guys.
No,
You sure?
No, it was
Just another white guy.
No, it was
I'm
the
like,
same guy.
You think it's the
It
same
was
guy?
the same guy.
You're kidding.
No, it was the same guy. Yeah.
Oh.
Was Lucy's dad?
Because remember, Rufus was so freaked out when Connor was with him, and he's like, "Wait, this guy just threatened me outside at my car." So yeah. So
Wait.
No. Lucy's the only person who's seen her father,
Yes.
like her.
That's the only
Rufus
time we
has
saw.
talked to him as well because he was in the car.
Okay, wait a
with
minute.
Connor.
Now, why do I feel like their faces look completely different in my head?
That Lucy's father was the guy that was in the car with Connor and Rufus
You're
talking in the
kidding.
limo. Yes, that
I
was
thought
the
they
same
were
guy.
I thought those were two
No.
different people.
That's why it's such a big reveal at the end of the episode when Lucy goes up. We've seen him and we know that he's involved somehow with Rittenhouse, whether with them or against
How
them.
did that happen?
What?
yes.
Is this true? Does anybody other than Frank?
Okay, sorry,
No.
Chad.
Everybody in the chat has already said that. Because no, see, I was like, no,
Same
different guy.
Different guy.
They're
Some
saying
people said
different
same guy.
guy.
So I don't know. I need to see the IMDb and actually
Yeah,
look
I
at
need
it.
We need to
at it.
get the
Clearly,
footage.
I'm
I like how
blind as
Kari
hell.
refuses
I'm
to
like,
believe me.
We need to get
You know?
the replay and the footage to.
I'm not going to go through all those episodes to find it.
But,
It's
but we
just
need
one
to
of
know.
those- maybe we didn't see him well enough that I didn't go. I never had that moment of like,
Yeah, you had
oh,
that
it's
moment.
him.
Yeah,
I did not. I just thought it was just
Why
a
didn't
different
you
dude.
go like, guys, that's the guy who's been harassing Rufus, and look, it's her dad.
Yeah.
I don't. I thought you guys were all with me.
Nope.
No, because none of us talked about that.
Honey Bunches of
This
no.
is
I don't
huge.
think not all
This
that's
is
right.
huge
I think all of us
controversy.
would have been like, whoa,
Guys,
hold the phone.
clearly this team has a lot of issues.
We need a team building exercise in time.
Yes.
You gotta start
What was
that
that
out.
thing
This
where
is
they
huge
like?
controversy.
What was the friction?
Where they were.
No, you said what's
Oh
the
yeah,
team?
you have.
Gotta get through that
you have-
storm.
Storm?
Yeah, forming, then storming.
Oh, we're
in a
storming
storming
right now.
phase.
That's what we're doing.
And then we have to work through
Yeah.
it so we can get to norming and performing.
I
But
see.
that's all right.
I see.
That's all right.
Well, we're gonna work on that.
That's right. And
Okay.
while we
Yeah.
do that, folks, we're going to give a wrap here to the Timeless After Show. Here, we're going to be spending our Thanksgiving holiday doing some
yeah.
team building exercises. We're going to come back next Monday, better, stronger, faster, more integrated. Chocodile sitting
We
right
hope.
here that we'll be eating on. Yes.
We hope.
But if you want, folks, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody, for hopping in the chat. We really appreciate that. You talking about this episode and the series in general. It was so much. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. And if you want to continue the conversation with us and tell everybody how smart I was, because I've known that we see that the whole time. You wanted to continue the conversation with us, Chris? Where can they find you?
But what if you're wrong?
But I'm not.
But I'm not.
Reach out to me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
And you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And thank you again to Neath Jewelry.
I'm Alexis Torres. Again, you can find me all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that good stuff at ATorres890. That's ATORRES 890.
And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you
Yes.
next week here for
Bye,
another edition of Timeless After Show.
Hey.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.